And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts, Edward Ed Parco, MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. We'll give you something to chew on. Real Estate Jerky is on now.
That's my California.
Thanks for joining us here on Real Estate Jerky. I'm your host, Ed Parco, president of Lending for Living, and along with my trusty sidekick, Marlene Chaplin. We're on the road, keeping you up to date on real estate and what's happening in our communities, our studios, wherever we have a solid Wi-Fi connection, and our fabulous engineer, Mike Murray, and the rest of our supportive friends at iHeartMedia. We always bring you something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky. Call or text me with questions at 209-404-1915 or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Hello, Marlene. Did I read this correctly? We're having a baby boom.
We are. Absolutely. Hi, Ed.
I feel sorry for if we don't fix this housing thing in 31 years from now.
Oh, well, sorry, or somebody's going to really be, it's going to be crazy. Because yes, this one actually, is like the ones 1979 to 1983 was the last big boom era besides the pre-60s boom,
right?
Which
the baby
but
boom.
This current track,
boomers.
Yeah, the current track we're on, you never know when the boom is until after, right?
Just like recession.
Yeah, exactly. Your hindsight, right? But in this particular case, because we were at such a trend of a downward trend, obviously. And you pointed out on a regular basis that people got stung because they didn't, there was a glut, and then we had the economic tsunami that was the housing market,
right. Crazy,
and then they didn't build, and now we don't have enough, and so we're having a baby boom. It's looking like it's going to rival the actual one where we came up with that baby boom era. And I
guess people were bored at home during the pandemic.
Yeah. And then they find out that having a baby isn't as crazy, stupid, scary and the tide is turning. That it just is. And it's a good thing because we haven't been even replacing ourselves, which, if you think America got old and gray,
we did.
Yeah.
60,000 a day turning old.
Turning
I'm serious. That's the problem, right? And we're living longer, and not that that's a problem, but we are. So we're causing more problems now. 31 years from now, we're going to have, or 30 years from now, or 29, depending on when they were conceived or whatever. Mm-hmm. We're going to have another issue. So we need to plan for this because we didn't plan for today.
We did not. We're not good at that. But yeah, so we're having a baby boom, and just in case you're wondering, life expectancy also has been tapering off. It reached its zenith for the longest living in America in the late 70s. I thought that was fascinating. I got these numbers, by the way, from Macro Trends, which is one of the places that uses all those censuses, the United Nations and all that. So the life expectancy seems to have bottomed out in 2017 and 18. Very interesting.
What does that mean?
Means that it started going, so your life expectancy was longer, extended.
Right.
Then it started going down. So people dying younger after
the baby boom.
Before the.
I'm talking before, during the pandemic, after the pandemic, or
before.
Okay.
Before that.
Okay.
So it's interesting that we're having this baby boom all over the world. By the way, it's not just the U.S. All over the world, and
all over the world was
pandemic. Yeah. So that's I
thank God I was an out of that age and we didn't have that problem. My wife made sure of that before you got too many kids.
Yeah, because you guys have 5 kids.
Enough.
Enough.
And 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, and I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. You can reach out to Ed with questions at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. Or you can also email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Enough kids and all that. So,
I was looking at your facts here, right?
Yeah.
You have your great facts you find for us. And
Yep.
the fact that more babies are born than, more boy babies are born than girls in the US. That's been going on since 2011. However, nagging women still live longer than men by an average of 10 years. What do you mean by that? Nagging women.
I didn't say nagging women. I didn't say
Well,
women.
my best quote that I, is from Zig Ziglar. He says, treat your significant other like a racehorse. You'll never have a nag.
Yeah. Well, I think this says all women. I would never write.
I could have swore I saw something in front of that.
No nags. I don't do that. I do not. I figure if she's nagging, there's a reason.
Yeah, well, work on yourself. No, it's just amazing that women still live longer than men, and women work now, a lot more than they ever did. So,
yeah, and in fact, so in other countries, due to gender selection, abortions, in most countries, they have even more boys versus girls than in the U.S. The only countries that actually have more equal boy-to-girl ratios, and this is fascinating. Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Togo, Zimbabwe, Ivory Coast, and Madagascar. And here's an odd thing. The country of Rwanda has the youngest population in the world. Their average age is 38.
Yeah, is that because of a war or something?
Yep. They had a civil war in 1990 to 94. That's when the genocide,
right?
The Tutsis in 94. Where they killed over 1 million Rwandans.
Right.
So they're the youngest, 38 years. How, so here we are in America, grayer than I'll get out. How fun would that be to go see that? I think.
Well, that's like during, I think, World War I, where like in France, all the guys died and all the older women, there was just women left. And so that's where it was okay for them to date a younger guy, where it was like taboo for so long. And that's all they had choices of. Right. So whatever, it's amazing what happens to us as a country or any country and how it changes the dynamics of that country. Right.
Yep. Yeah. So, we pass these things and, I'm on that kick again still.
Yeah, let's move on.
Because we're on the baby thing. Well, even anything we pass, any bills that we passed, anything, we always are trying to make it better. And what we do is we just make it different.
You're saying the government gets involved, tries to do good and does bad? There's no way. Really?
Yeah.
No way. I always thought they come and they fix everything because they know better than us. Don't they? Because they came out and they're like, we'll fix the mortgage industry after that downturn because, we know better than you. Well, why don't you get somebody from my industry who knows what's going on in our industry, and we didn't need all that new regulation. The positive thing that came out of it was the loan estimate and the CD. So that way the numbers stayed the same all the way through. That's the positive thing. So I'll get off my lobe.
No, you can.
I'm just saying that's the problem. It's the same thing. What did Ronald Reagan say?
Yeah, he said this. What is it? The scariest 5 words that you'll ever hear. I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I understand certain reasons why we need a government to oversee certain things, but then there should be get out of my way and let me do my business and whatever. As long as, they get involved and they mess it up 9 times out of 10, trying to do good, whatever that is.
Well, part of the problem is most of the citizens today don't even know what the Constitution says or the Bill of Rights. I think if you knew
how about that vote,
how you knew things, how it was supposed to work, it would work better.
Yeah. Well, that means they would actually have to vote and they have to stand up for something.
Well, we're voting. Are you voting?
Multiple times. Who said that?
Mark Twain.
There you go.
Vote often.
That's right. And what I think he meant was vote all the time that it's available for
No,
you.
he really didn't mean, voter fraud's been around for
ever.
Yeah, forever.
I mean,
Since
you
always.
go back and some of the stuff that, I mean, and it's usually they add in people from the cemetery, right? That in that area. And it's always happened when they came on, now we have electronic, we can find the fact that those names are on there and they've been passed away for a while. Why are we still using them? Or let's just get them to vote Republican, like I said before. Or in the middle. How get them to vote policies and not personalities. That's what we want. Get them to vote policies, and then they would vote the right way all the time.
Oh my gosh. Well, so
whatever that is, and I don't mean like right, like or left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
middle.
So what does a baby boom look like? I mean, so I guess we're living it. Did you know the U.S. and Canada are currently experiencing the biggest increase in births in the world, in the U.S. and Canada? In Europe, it's the French and the Austrians that are experiencing the biggest baby births. So what does a baby boom do to the real estate industry? If you've got questions or comments, dial Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Our next guest will give us a microcosmic look at how the baby boom is helping her business. So don't go away.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
We're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, Ed's trusty sidekick here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm always along for the ride with our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran, president of Lending for Living. And joining us now is the baby whisperer, but not what you're thinking. She's not the nanny, but she is an awesome mama and grandma. But those aren't the reasons why we call her the baby whisperer. But you're going to have to stop guessing. We'll just stop guessing and we'll let her tell us. So help me give a very warm welcome to one of my dear friends and favorite people, Laurie Armstrong, owner of Womb's Window, UltraSound and Baby Boutique right here in Modesto, California. Hello, Laurie.
Hello, Marlene. How are you?
I'm groovy.
Good.
Hello, Laurie. I'm Ed Parco.
Hi, Ed. Good morning to everybody.
Not just Marlene. It's I don't. She always gives me a lot of stuff to talk about, but my real question would be, how did you get into doing the owner of Womb's Window ultrasound thing?
Well, I was hired and trained to be an ultrasound tech, not diagnostic, obviously. And I worked there for about 7 years, and then I bought the business about 4 years ago.
All right. Is that why you're called the baby whisperer, or you just know the baby before it comes in?
The baby whisperer, it was given to me because I can get pictures when other people can't get pictures.
Of what the baby's going to be?
Well, maybe their gender, but for instance, when you're in the womb and it's difficult to get a picture, I can come in and get the picture. I have a technique. So they call me the baby whisperer.
Gotcha. That sounded kind of weird there when you're in the womb. Right? It's in a camera in the room. No, it's ultrasound. Right. Anyway, all right, Marlene, jump in here. This is your whole thing. You like this more than anybody else. As I always say, I don't have a uterus.
But if you're in real estate, Ed, and you're selling houses to people that have what?
Dogs, cats.
Really? That's all? You don't sell any, they don't have any kids?
Hey, I was just letting you go there.
Good heavens. How many
kids? Seems like we've been in studio all day today.
How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
5 kids. Yeah. So
that I know of.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's kid friendly, even though sometimes he acts like
kids and dogs love me. Not cats.
He acts like
not
he's
cats.
not. But Laurie, it's the baby whisperer side, your technique. I've watched you do ultrasounds over the years, and I think it's your technique is not just knowing how to use the ultrasound. You guys call it a wand, or what do you?
The probe.
The probe, but it doesn't. It's just external. So people who don't know, who haven't, we always make assumptions when we do things that everybody knows what ultrasound is. Describe it. How it happens. What happens?
What do you mean? Like
it's a probe, but it's on the external, and
Okay, so it's a machine. Obviously, the technology is awesome. And sound waves go through the machine, through the probe into the belly of the mom, and then it creates an image, a 3D image of the baby that's inside.
Wow. So, I mean, basically, this is like sonar differently, basically,
Yes.
but it sounds ways.
Ed was in the Navy.
But I also worked in physical therapy in the Navy, and we used ultrasounds for other reasons, not to see pictures, but basically you can use the sound waves to create these pictures. And it's amazing that what I'm used to seeing with, as the old pictures of ultrasounds versus what you can see today with the 3D, right?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, like a lot of the moms will get pictures after the baby's born and they hold them up side by side, and absolutely, you can tell.
Well, it's the same baby.
It's the same baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. We're talking to our very special guest, Laurie Armstrong, owner and baby whisperer at Womb's Window Ultrasound and Baby Boutique. You can visit the Womb's Window at their lovely, lovely location at Standerford and Tully here in Modesto on the Frontier Shopping Center behind Fleet Feet, or visit awombswindow.com. That's awombswindow.com. If your family is expanding and you're trying to figure out if you can afford to move, you need to reach out to Ed and dial him up at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. You can also email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. It's the same baby. That I love that you said that, Laurie, because it is the same baby in the womb or out of the womb. It's the same baby.
And the parents are always amazed. Always.
Yeah, twins. Doesn't matter, huh? You see them all.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So how was COVID during this period of time? Was there pent up demand to go in? Were you open? Because I know some dental offices were closed and other ones were open. So were you open during the pandemic?
So for us, we were shut down for about a week, and then they deemed me essential, and I was able to open back up. So I went through the process that many people went through of closing their business and having that fear and wonder of what's going to happen next. And then when we reopened, all of my staff had been laid off. And so I had a very, very small amount of staff that actually came back and stayed with me. So it was a difficult time, but it also became a time where families were beating down the door to come in and see their babies, because the moms and the dads weren't able to experience it at the doctor's office like they had in the past. And the dads were losing out on that experience. So it became a time where we had to stay open and we had to work long hours just to accommodate the moms and dads that needed to see their babies.
Question for you. Has there been an increase in babies since the pandemic?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, there's not much to do.
Well,
when you're stuck at home.
That's exactly right. And so there absolutely was an uptick and a what we call the corona babies. It was just kind of peculiar to watch how many babies were being born, because it was a pandemic, yet now we're seeing this baby boom. It's pretty neat.
All right. Marlene's busy doing something else today. So how long you been in the industry, Laurie?
So about 13 years, 13, possibly 14. I was thinking about that this morning, but definitely 13 years.
Okay. And then you've owned this for, I know you said, but I want to, since we're here.
About 4.5 years.
Okay. What's the biggest change that has happened in this industry in the last, 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I would say it's the technology. I can have a machine for 4 years and it be something that isn't even leading in technology anymore. And so that's always changing.
So do they rent these machines to you?
They do rent them.
Because they change so fast.
Yeah.
Technology.
You can rent them or lease them. I buy them and I have 2 rooms. And so if I buy a new machine, I might keep the other machine in another room. Recently, I just bought a laptop so that we could go in home and do some scanning and maybe some gender reveals and that type of thing. So that's coming. So yeah, would be technology would be my answer.
Well, I know, like in my office, and this has nothing to do with medical, but like the copier, what obsolete thing we have, but and it's a scanner, but it gets used once a month now,
Mhm.
right? And so it's amazing how technology changes so fast, especially in the medical field with different things. So what do you see on the horizon for this? Anything?
Are you talking about something new besides technology?
I don't know.
I just
I'm
see
trying to
it.
get you to explain.
Yeah,
You know what I think is very cool? Laurie, is the blood stuff that you have, like the gender, the sneak peek.
That's
It's amazing.
pretty amazing, and that's
Talk about that.
about 3 years old.
What's that?
It's called a sneak peek, and a parent can come in now they just changed it. It was started at 8 weeks, and then it went down. The technology there is changing too. So at about 5 to 6 weeks, a parent can come in and have a blood test and find out the next day if they're having a boy or girl.
Wow.
And so that's
and I
the
assume
newest.
that's the woman coming in to do
Yes,
that, right? Okay.
that's the newest, the newest technology. So, and that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We
Not
are
only that you're pregnant, but the kid.
Yeah,
Before you actually know you're pregnant, you can find out what the kid is.
pretty much. Yeah.
Go ahead, Marlene. Sorry.
no, I mean, yeah, it's 6 weeks. It's crazy. It's amazing to me. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, and we're talking to Laurie Armstrong, owner of Wombs Window, Modesto's first ultrasound boutique. And when we come back, we're going to find out why it takes more than training to get a great ultrasound. You'll be surprised. So don't go away.
Our new reverse mortgage product limits can change the way you live out the rest of your life.
And we're back at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living, and our special guest, Laurie Armstrong, owner of Wombs Window, Modesto's first ultrasound boutique studio here in the Central Valley, and it's right here in Modesto. So, Laurie, let's get back to it. So this baby whisper business, we keep hearing about. We're going to talk about that, but Ed wants to know, he's pretty fascinated with the sneak peek, the blood test about finding the gender.
Mhm.
So the other thing that you guys do there, though, Ed, that so the blood test is at 6 weeks, right? Laurie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that reveals just the gender?
Just the gender.
It reveals the gender. And when we do ultrasounds, we can't reveal that until about 14 weeks. So it's pretty significant that you can find out at 5 and 6 weeks.
Do we find out what it identifies at? I'm just
No.
kidding.
We leave that to the baby once it's born.
We're trying to make you more comfortable, Laurie.
I know.
And everybody
You
is-
can cut that.
We're not.
Okay.
My engineer like that. We just did the whole political thing. We get into a little bit, but it's just, hey, let's let the kids be kids. Move on. All right. So you can find out the sex of the baby, and then that's at 6 weeks. And then it takes,
That's a blood test.
That's a blood test. And then in 14 weeks, you can actually see the child growing, that kind of stuff okay.
At 14 weeks, you can find out the gender. And once the baby is born, we have a gender trait test that you can swab the inside of the baby's mouth and send that off to a company, and you receive some results that tell you about the baby before it even happens. Before the baby even begins to show what the results are. Like, is it going to be a picky eater, or is it going to be a good sleeper, or is she, or Marlene was just saying, she or he going to have curly hair or straight hair or blonde hair or brown hair? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
all of it.
It's
any of this covered by insurance, or is this additional?
It's additional. Nothing is covered by insurance.
Yeah, that's why it's a boutique kind of it's super cool though. So let's go to the baby whisper thing, because I think that's there's ultrasounds and then there's ultrasound pictures. And the thing about Wombs Window that always has fascinated me is how good you guys are at it. So, and that's kind of, it's like a calling over there with you guys, I think, because I've seen different ultrasound scans. So Laurie, when you sit down and you're ready to do, and I know you train your techs over there as well.
I do.
So what does it take to be able to be the little in the womb baby whisperer to get those babies? Because you can see their personalities, can't you?
You can totally see their personalities. You can tell if they're shy or if they're going to be outgoing because they do it in the womb. You can tell, excuse me, if they're going to, excuse me, if they're going to suck their thumb because they do that in the womb. And a lot of parents will come back several times and they're doing the same thing. So you can tell it is a characteristic. And then when they're born, the parents will call us and tell us they're still doing it. So when I train my employees, the very first thing I train them in is that every parent that comes in, it might be their first time and it might be their only time. And so even though we do a lot of scans, we're to approach it as though it's their first time and their only time so that they have a good experience.
So it's a pretty emotional time for the parents and the grandparents because you have them all in there at sometimes, right?
That's true. I've had up to, I think we counted 59 people. They were actually going out into the hallway because this particular family hadn't had a girl born in the family for almost 100 years. They were from
wow.
Sonora. And so they had started going to every ultrasound of someone in the family that was pregnant and having a baby. And this particular baby was a girl. So that was a pretty awesome experience.
Wow. We're talking to our very special guest, Laurie Armstrong, owner and baby whisperer at Wombs Window Ultrasound and Baby Boutique. You can visit Wombs Window at their lovely ultrasound studio and baby boutique at Standerford and Tully in the Frontier Shopping Center here in Modesto behind Fleet Feet, or visit a wombswindow.com. That's a wombswindow.com. If your family is expanding and you're trying to figure out if you can afford to move, you can reach out to Ed. He can help you with that by dialing 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915 or you can visit him at lendingforliving.com or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. So,
Laurie, you having a fun time?
Oh, yes.
It's funny.
I love public speaking and all that. Can you tell?
It's just us. It's just us three. No one else is hearing us.
So 100 years they hadn't had a little girl, all boys.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I bet you that they had a lot of presents.
I bet they did. I bet they had a great reveal party too.
So what's a reveal party?
Well, a reveal party, of course, this family was all there and they knew what it was. But a reveal party is when it's a secret and you go home and you invite your friends and family, and then they reveal right there if it's a boy or a girl in front of everybody. And it's very popular.
That's a new thing, right?
Yeah.
That was nothing. We just said, hey, I'm having a boy. I'm
Yes.
having a girl,
Or in my case, I didn't know because it was years ago.
Right.
And you guys are like right on. You guys always get it right.
Well, we are human and we have a very good reputation for that. It's important that we get it right. The minute you find out what you're having, if we tell you it's a boy, you bond to that gender. And if we're wrong and you find out it's a girl, not that you're not happy, but it's kind of a loss after you've already bonded to a boy and now it's a girl. So it's really important to get it right.
Yeah. It's kind of like going to get into a house contract and you're going to buy this house that you think you can have. And then they tell you can't have it.
Right.
Something we don't do.
Right.
We want to make sure that we get there. Now, has the blood test ever been wrong?
No. As a matter of fact, the blood test is so accurate that if it can't tell, it just comes back inconclusive. It doesn't come back with a wrong gender.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you just wait for another couple of weeks because you don't really know the
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
exactly. Because maybe you're not as far along as you think.
right.
So
You haven't been through the pandemic.
now there are two sneak peeks. One is where what we do, which is draw by blood. The other one you can do at home yourself. That one can be wrong because there can be cross-contamination between male and female DNA just because males and females are living in the house together. So it's the blood test that's drawn that is the most important, the most accurate.
So go to professionals.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of like the COVID home test.
Right.
They can be wrong.
Right.
They can be right too, but you never know. All right. So we're almost, what else are we missing, Laurie? Because you do this all day long. We don't. There's got to be something we're missing.
Well, just besides the joy that we have that we do it, my staff is fantastic. They're just wonderful, caring people. What you see is really who they are. There's no acting. We love what we do, and we love the people that come in.
All right. So if somebody wants to schedule an appointment, do they do it through your website? Do they call you? What's the best way to do that?
They can do it through our website. They can do it through Facebook. They can call our office. We'll do it for them over the phone. They may have questions, and we're happy to answer those questions.
All right. So we got popped up about, someone was asking about the mobile version. Because you just said, I think in the other segment, that you now have a laptop to do this at home. You're doing the ultrasound at home also?
Yes, where I'm preparing that. So I do have the equipment, and I'm getting ready to launch a mobile business.
So it's like the olden years where the doctor would actually come to your house.
There you go.
You're going to have one of those little big black bags.
Yes. And well, if somebody wants to have a baby shower and at the same time reveal the gender, even if they already know, to say the people that are close and important to them, then we come there with the laptop and do a scan that everybody can see and reveal what the gender is.
All right. There you go.
Fun.
Great
Yeah, so
idea.
that you don't
Great
have-
idea.
So you don't have 59 people in the studio.
Right.
I can't even, you know what? I hadn't heard that story, Laurie.
I would have driven to Sonora just to see that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But you do have a lot I mean, it's a big deal. I think, the press these days minimizes how exciting it is for families when they have babies. In fact, for many years, all we've talked about is not having babies, as though we have this population issue here, which we don't have. We've got plenty of space. We've got plenty of space in America for people, plenty. And so it's nice to hear about the babies in the womb, at a womb's window. How excited do your clients get when they see their baby the first time?
Well, I have never seen so many fathers cry as I have the last 2 years.
All millennials, huh?
Well, actually, most of it was they haven't been able to go to the doctor's appointments.
I want to see the grandfather cry.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the big one. Like that.
These men, these grown, wonderful men, just at the sight of their baby, cry.
Yeah.
And it's really emotional. You can't scan and not cry with them while they're crying these happy tears. And, it's just pretty awesome.
I mean, tough guys when it comes to their kids. I fainted when my son had to have stitches one time, and I was a corpsman and EMT, and I taught at the EMT school. So you never, and they're like, it's always the big ones, and it's always the guys who's in this industry that fall down.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
great to cry.
Now,
right.
I will give you a statistic. It's a boy boom this year, and last year it was a girl boom. So
wow.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, I've got some numbers.
Is there any reason why that is one way or another?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Didn't know.
There are theories. There are theories.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that. Laurie, what's one other thing you want everybody to know about Womb's Window?
I think that we've covered pretty much everything.
Oh, good.
All right.
I want them to know your hours, because you are very, very, very accommodating.
We are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 9 and 9 to 5:30 on Saturdays. I'm at the end of training somebody, and so we'll be open 9 to 9 on Saturdays here pretty quick.
Yay.
Yeah.
And the people you train, do they have to have are they CMAs? Are they RNs, LVNs?
No, they are people that are committed to learning. I train for about 4 to 6 months, just depending on what they need. It's not an easy task to learn. It's not something you can teach somebody in a week. Not if you want them to do a good job and succeed. I want them to succeed also, and to be able to give the parents the best possible experience. So that, and I pay them while I train them. And so that's costly, but it's worth it.
I mean, do you have like a ultrasound school or anything like that kind of stuff? Or is this on the job training?
This is on the job training. They are not certified. They're not diagnostic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just want people to know. So if they want to get into it, they can give you a call.
It's an amazing thing. And this is an amazing place. I mean, Laurie is an amazing person. All the people that are there. I mean, it's amazing. So
Thank you.
It is. You got your reviews are incredible. And there's a reason for that. It's so much fun.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
And the reviews are, you said reviews are good.
The reviews
and the reviews are even better.
They are.
Took me a minute to get that out.
Thanks so much for listening to us here at Real Estate Jerky and our amazing guest, Laurie Armstrong, owner of Wombs Window, Modesto's first ultrasound studio. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the wonders of families, real estate, and how they all tie our communities together. Laurie, thank you so much for being on, because this was not something you really wanted to do.
No.
She's so much better. She's very good with parents and families, but you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If you have a career in this, if you want it.
Oh, I'm going to get right on that. I'm an outgoing person, but I'm shy when it comes to stuff like this.
All
So
right, perfect.
I'm glad I made it.
Thank you for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
If you've got any questions, please reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915 or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. More to chew on always. So don't go anywhere.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
We're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. Ed's ready for your questions. So reach out to him at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Are they whining at you, Ed, these days about the interest rates and everything? People, when they call in or when they're trying to get a loan?
Not really. I mean, people have like heard about it, but what I'm hearing a lot, it's like, I heard it's 7%. Like, no, it's not there yet, but we're not that high.
It's going to get there. I know you can't say this, but I will. I'm going to say this because for the past 4 years, I've been saying this is reminding me of the 70s. It reminds me of the 70s, reminds me of the 70s. And most folks are too young, don't understand what that means. But I don't just mean the way people act. I mean the economy. I mean the things that are going on. So if you're
mean
afraid,
like disco ball?
That really wasn't the 70s. The disco ball didn't happen. Disco and all that didn't happen until almost the 80s.
Donna Summer.
So that was the 80s, really. It wasn't the 70s. The 70s was the fallout from the 60s. And
Simmer
the
down now.
70s, I'm just saying.
No.
So the interest rate here, all this to support what I'm going to say next for you, Ed.
Okay.
Which is people. Yes, it's scary. But if you've got to have some place to live, which you do, and there's houses to buy, which there are, then just get on it. Because guess what? If you think you're going to struggle a little bit now at 5 or 4, imagine what it will be at 7, and it'll be to 7. It'll be to 7 before you know it.
Well, the positive thing, what's happening right now, Marlene, if I can jump in here real quick, is the fact that there's less offers on each property.
Exactly.
And still only one person can get that house.
Right.
So if you have, the problem is the FHA amount and below, they have, 20 offers, right? Now they have maybe 10 offers, right? And one person gets it still. And that we still have that, but it's less. So right now is the time to buy because you can get your offer accepted where you don't have as much competition because everybody else is freaking out.
Yeah.
So as I always say, get to it. And we're at the end of our show, the shortest hour of my life. It seems like that way today. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for our special guest, Laurie Armstrong, owner of Wombs Window, Modesto's first ultrasound studio and baby boutique. You can visit Wombs Window at their very nice studios and boutique on Stanford and Tully in Frontier Shopping Center behind Fleet Feet in Modesto, or online at awombswindow.com. If you have any questions for me, you can reach out by dialing 209-404-1915. Again, that's 209-404-1915. And you can go to lendingforliving.com. You can also email us at radio@realestatejerky. In the weeks ahead, we'll be visiting with candidates for California State Senate District 4, Judge Stephen Bailey and George, and not that.
I hate when I do that, but
All right,
we're going to be talking to Nathan Magsig.
Well, I'll just pick up again in weeks ahead. In the weeks ahead, we'll be visiting with candidates for California State Senate District 4, Judge Stephen Bailey, and Juan Alanese, candidate for California State Assembly District 22, our favorite swimming pool contractors, Thomas Pools and Spas, and so much more. If you missed any of today's show, you can find us via our podcast. Download it on iHeart. Download the iHeart app and you can, on your mobile device, and you can see it there, or you can just go wherever you get your podcast from. Remember, we're proud to live in this land of opportunity where you can still build personal wealth through home ownership. Join us here on Real Estate Jerky, where we always give you something to chew on every Saturday at 12 noon and Sundays at 10 a.m. here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. Marlene, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for the fun, Ed.
All the time. My NMLS license number is 235384, and we'll talk to you next week.
'Cause we got small towns and farmland, folks who still make a living with their hands. Where I come from, a man is still a man. That's my